I'm so pleased to welcome all of you to the Klingspor Museum once again, and it's a special situation to show you a piece that we never would have expected to be in the Klingspor Museum. And the whole thing starts with a beautiful box, and it was designed and laid out and done after the conception of Joan Miró. And we are going to present you a very special piece from the oeuvre of Joan Miró, the Spanish painter and printer. And as you can see, this box is a treasure itself, and you open up it like this. And here we go. And as you can see, this is not just a picture which is a flat piece of silk, but it is a roll. And here you can see how we can And in the end, we can see the hand signature of Joan Miró, and it said number 17 of 50 editions that we have the honor to have all of those great pieces here. How did we get this scroll into the Klingspor Museum? I have to say I'm most grateful to the Sammlung Wilke from Hofheim, and they decided to lend this piece to the Klingspor Museum for quite a while, and especially because we have this conference today in the Klingspor Museum. So all of you in the AEPM, I think we all haven't seen such a piece before, and so it's a very special moment for us. I'm also very thankful for the collaboration with the Galerie Michael Blaschik in Bad Homburg. He mediated the situation and supported the whole installation, and it's a great working together of different people to make this possible. And my next thank you goes to Françoise Despalles, and she's going to help me with listening to some of the very special sentences of Joan Miró, which have to do with his understanding of what he did and what his attitude was to his art. And to start with, I want to show you just a book, just a little catalogue from the year 1965. And when I was confronted with this roll, I was immediately reminded of this book, and it is a catalogue which was a first step in finding the situation of the surrealist paintings, and it's called with a very significant title, Traumzeichen Raum, Dream Sign Space, and on it you find as the main illustration Joan Miró's picture Amour. And that's from 1926, and that's a very special moment for Joan Miró, when he decided no longer any description, any pictorial attitude in his work, but giving a new way of color and line, and having a new speak, a new language of the sign of color. And when we say that Kandinsky was the one to make color a new element of the arts in the 20th century, and when we would say that Pablo Picasso was the one who would have a completely new break into the superficial evidence of the body and the real thing, then it is to say that in the 20s we have this new idea of taking evidence of the dream, the sort of intersphere, things which are not easy to speak about. And this new invention of the dream, the surrealistic sphere, that was a very, very important step into a new development of the arts and visual arts in the 20th century, and Joan Miró played a magnificent role in this. And so you can say that this piece from the mid of the 50s is sort of, so to say, further development of this basic idea of his to make a visual composition of the sort of unspeakable and still giving it a form, giving it a rhythm, giving it a signal, a sign quality. And dear Françoise, it would be very nice if you would read out a first passage of what he said himself about his art. He wrote a wonderful text, Je travaille comme un jardinier, and you will read some of the passages from this book.
Je travaille dans un état de passion et d'emportement. Quand je commence une toile, j'obéis à une impulsion physique, au besoin de me lancer. C'est comme une décharge physique. Bien sûr, une toile ne peut pas me satisfaire tout de suite. Et au début, j'éprouve ce malaise que je vous ai décrit. Mais comme je suis très bagarreur dans ces choses-là, j'engage la lutte. C'est une lutte entre moi et ce que je fais, entre moi et la toile, entre moi et mon malaise. Cette lutte m'excite et me passionne.
My work is based on passion. I obey an almost physical impulse. My pictures come into being thanks to a shock. This shock is triggered by the ground of the picture and its material, a thread that detaches itself from the canvas, a drop of water, an imprint of my finger. So we learn that it was a very special way of looking at the most minimal little spot on a ground, which made him find a new poetic form over the form, the next form. And so this is what makes this role so typical. What is this role? The Krieger Museum in Washington, one of the very few collections to present such a piece, would say 36 feet long and 16 inches wide of specially woven raw lined silk, Lyon silk, printed with lithographed and etched designs from Miró's original wood and metal blocks, impressed with lustrous colored inks. This is the basic description of Miró's tour de force Makemono. So we have a faint idea of what happened to do these 50 pieces, a pretty large work which was done at Lyon. The textile producer Joan Miró here. And now it is very important to see the systematical procedure which is in this role. And we have to understand that it is partly to be looked at, partly to be like a literature piece to be read. And where does it come from? Makemono, these are Japanese words, obviously, and they talk about the rolling of a thing. And in fact, in the Japanese culture, we have the scroll as a very important piece of making a picture visible. So there are two systems: the hanging roll, we know better, and the horizontal roll, which also is there to be aggregate, which you roll out and roll back, and you're a reader rolling this roll. And the old traditional scrolls, Makemono, possibly coming from India, then to China, and then to Japan, they were reading instruments, so to say, but they always had a pictorial register also. So this piece is in the tradition of painting as well as writing, and you have it as a mixture of the both, and this is what the Makemono makes so interesting. Let's hear what Miró would say about his work.
Je travaille jusqu'à ce que le malaise cesse. Je commence mes tableaux sous l'effet d'un choc que je ressens et qui me fait échapper à la réalité. La cause de ce choc peut être un petit fil qui se détache de la toile, une goutte d'eau qui tombe, cette empreinte que laisse mon doigt sur la surface brillante de cette table.
Why are we so glad to have this piece in the Klingspor Museum? Because we have one of his wonderful books in this collection, Parler Seul, text by Tristan Tzara, and the pictorial parts of Joan Miró. And the book was started in the early 1940s and finished in 1950. So a couple of years before this roll was produced. And in both cases, it was Emmy Megd who was the editor and the gallerist to start the project and to give the initiative for Miró to do so. And so you can see, as Joan Miró was so much involved in the matter of book illustration, it is only obvious that this roll is a wonderful piece with the books, inasmuch as we have a comparison in what he meant with his signs when he set them out and gave us something we would just look at. We can find some faces, we can find some animal-like figures, but we can just find a spot and a line. And altogether, it's a wonderful illumination of what we call the sign as a new vocabulary in the visual arts of the 20th century. The sign of a sphere we cannot speak about, we can dream of. And so I hope that we all will, in the Klingspor Museum, be invited to dream with this wonderful piece of art. Thank you very much for that. And now we listen to another great artist who was very much impressed by Joan Miró, and that was Alberto Giacometti. And he pointed out that Miró was fabulous in what he did because he did it so spontaneously and never, so the opinion of Alberto Giacometti, could have ever failed in what he was doing. And that is what is Françoise reading for us.
Pour moi, c'était la plus grande liberté. Quelque chose de plus aérien, de plus dégagé, de plus léger que tout ce que j'avais vu. En un sens, c'était absolument parfait. Miró ne pouvait pas poser un point sans le faire tomber juste. Il était si véritablement peintre qu'il lui suffisait de laisser 3 taches de couleur sur la toile pour qu'elle existe et soit un tableau.
Merci bien. And thank you very much for all of your patience and all of your interest you have paid all over the day to our conference, and I hope you will proceed tomorrow in our next program, and so we'll see you again. Thank you very much.
There is another question I would like to pose to you directly. It comes from Zara Benkas, and she's asking if you plan to exhibit this scroll one day, or does the shape and the size make it too difficult to exhibit?
It needs quite a surrounding, it needs a special moment to install the roll again, and we haven't planned so far, but we will be very pleased to be surprised by ourselves when we bring in this piece. There will be certainly a lot of opportunities when we think, oh, that would fit in. And let's see how we do it. It's too new to us to deal with such a piece. We have had a lot of very delicate installations in this house, but this is a special task, and we will see how to deal with it. We will inform you how we do this, and we'll invite you to come and see it again.
Perfect.